Welcome, and thank you for joining me. We're going to start our practice in a comfortable seated position. I myself am actually sitting on a block, or you can be in an easy seated position of any choice of yours, lotus, any option that is comfortable for you. So we can just begin to center ourselves on our breath. We're closing the eyes, noticing where you are right now physically with your breath, with your mind, with your body. And just coming to a place of awareness. And start to deepen your breath. Feeling the belly expanding and retracting, the rib cage opening up with your inhale. Exhaling completely, bringing the belly all the way back to the spine. Just try to inhale and exhale with an even count, maybe somewhere between 4 and 6. Begin to relax at the hairline, relaxing the eyelids, the temple, relaxing the jaw, the mouth, the chin, relaxing the neck, the throat, the shoulders, breathing into those spaces, and then exhaling any tension. Relaxing the upper arm, the bicep, the elbow, the forearms, the wrists, the hands, the knuckles, and all the way down to your fingertips. Exhaling, releasing. Inhale, bringing in new breath. Releasing the back, the hips, the upper legs, the knees, the calf muscle and the shin. Releasing the ankles, the top of the foot, the heel, the bottom of the foot, the toes, Breathing into those places and noticing how you feel. Inhaling, lengthening that spine. The next exhale, let's drop the chin. Just lowering it down, not cranking it forward. Feeling a nice stretch in the back of the neck. And start to make circles with the neck in one direction, keeping those shoulders down, taking your time. And breathing into that space that you're opening up. And changing directions whenever you're ready. Still keeping those shoulders down and just noticing where you're needing to be a little extra tender. No rush. And coming back to center when you've completed your circles. Let's take our left hand out to the side, palm facing up. The right hand can be outside of the right hip. Just inhale, reaching that left side body over, opening it up. Keeping the hips square down to the floor or on your block. Coming back to center. Let's stretch on the opposite side, lifting that right arm up. And then coming back to center. Let's inhale both arms overhead. Big inhale, releasing those shoulder blades on your exhale. Take your right wrist take your left wrist with your right hand. And stretch over, pulling it to the right. And then change sides, grabbing your right wrist with your left hand now. Reaching to the left. Coming back to center. Exhaling, bringing the arms down. Let's come out of our seated position now. Take a nice stretch of the wrists. And you can also stretch your toes at the same time. So we're on our hands and knees, tucking the toes under. Let's take that right hand, turning the fingers backwards. I'm just holding here, keeping the shoulders down. You can always pull your hips back for a little more stretch if you are more flexible in your wrists. And not hyperextending the elbow. And switch hands, turning that left wrist, fingers pointed toward yourself. Coming back to center, back to forward. Let's move ourselves back into a child's pose. Just walking his hands forward, pulling those hips back. Knees are wide apart or close together, depends on your preference. But you get a little more stretch in the hips when you have the knees wide and the toes are touching. Coming forward, let's come into a down dog. And pedaling the knees, pedaling the feet, or keeping still. And still being mindful of that breath. Let's step that right foot forward, dropping the back knee, keeping your hands on the mat. You can also use blocks. And working on the flexibility of the ankle, as well as stretching the hip flexor on the left side. Really bringing that right knee up toward the armpit, but not by force, just gravity doing its work. On your next exhale, let's pull the hips back. Keep pulling that right leg back, pulling the hip back, bringing the toes closer to your face, and then exhaling, folding over that right shin in a half splits. And walking the hands forward again, coming back into our lunge. Now let's inhale the chest up, lifting the arms up overhead. Open the arms out wide, and then twist to the right. Inhale, reaching out of that spine, out of that lower back, lengthening. And exhale, let's come forward. Bring your hands to the mat and come into a down dog. Let's step that left foot forward, dropping the back knee. Hands are on the mat or on your blocks. Bringing that knee close to the body, close to the armpit. Working on that flexibility in the left ankle. On your next exhale, let's bring the hips back. Dragging that left hip back. Pulling that left heel. And lifting those toes back, coming towards your face as you flex the foot. Exhaling over that left shin. And come forward again. Holding here for another couple breaths. Maybe noticing it feel a little different than it did the first time. Now press into that left foot. Inhale, lifting up the chest, lifting up the arms. Maybe shifting the weight back so you can feel a little stretch maybe in your right quad. And let's open the arms up and then twist to the left. Inhale, coming back. And bring your hands to the mat. And let's come back into a down dog. Inhale, lifting up your right leg. Letting your left heel sink to the floor. Keeping the hips square to the mat. Just working on the length and the lift. Now open that hip up, bending the knee, bring the knee to the ceiling. Exhale, let's bring it down. Let's do that on the other side. Inhale, lifting up that left leg. Letting the right heel sink. Hips are square with the mat. Just lifting that leg up a little higher. Then open that hip. Exhale, let's bring it down. Stepping forward to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, folding forward. Let's grab onto our elbows, hanging in a ragdoll, bending the knees just as much as you need to. And shifting the weight from side to side. And start to come up one vertebrae at a time. Inhaling the arms up overhead. Take a nice inhale and exhale. Inhaling, exhale. Let's fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step the right foot back, dropping the knee. Inhale up. In our low lunge, taking a slight back bend if that works for you. Exhale, hands come to the mat. Step back in plank. And then down dog. Stepping the right foot forward, dropping the back knee. Inhale up for our lunge. Taking that back bend if you did so on the other side. Exhale, hands come to the mat. Stepping that left foot forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Lifting that tailbone. Dropping the belly. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, let's come all the way up. Exhale, folding forward. Let's inhale, stepping that left foot back, lifting the chest up, coming in our low lunge with the back bend. Keep pulling that right hip back. Exhale, hands come to the mat. Stepping the right foot back. We're in our plank. Holding, separating the shoulder blades. And then exhaling to a down dog. Stepping that left foot forward, dropping the knee. Inhale, lifting up the chest. Pulling that left hip back. Inhale, reaching out of the lower back. Exhale, hands come down to the mat. And step forward. Inhale, halfway lift, lifting up that tailbone, lifting the chest. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, let's step our right foot back. Inhale, lifting up the chest for a high lunge. The knee is over the ankle. Don't let it come forward or cave inward. Just holding here, pressing out of the heel of that back foot. Pulling that right hip forward. Exhale, hands come to the mat. Plank. Holding. Press harder into that mat. And then exhale, coming back to our down dog. Now stepping that right foot forward. Inhale up for high lunge. Pulling that left hip forward. Watching that right knee, staying over the ankle. Really pressing into the feet. If you feel wobbly, you can always widen the space between your legs so they're not so narrowly together. Keep lifting out of the lower back. And exhale, hands come to the mat. Plank, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Pulling the belly forward. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, lifting up that right leg, reaching it long. Open the hip. Exhale, bring it down. Inhale, lifting up the left leg. Open the hip. Bring it back down. And then travel to the front of the mat. Walking or hopping, floating, your choice. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, coming all the way up. Let's bring our hands to our hips. Pause and feel. Let's step our right foot back. So now our toes are pointed toward the long edge of the mat. Inhale, lifting up the chest. Pressing those feet into the mat. Kneecaps are lifted. And on your next exhale, folding from the hip crease halfway. On your next exhale, folding all the way. Walking the hands between the feet. Inhale, walking the hands out. And coming all the way up. Let's bend our weight, bending into that left knee. And then come all the way down. The toes of the right foot come up, or you can keep it pointed. Up to you. But your gaze should be toward your right toes. You can keep your hands on the mat or come to heart. You can even take a bind in this position. Whatever works for you. And then press forward into that right foot and come into a warrior two. Watching that knee, making sure you can see your big toe. Let's bring our hands back to heart. Press up, straightening that right leg. Toes are again pointed at the long edge of the mat. And start to shift your weight into that right knee. Bringing your toes on the left foot up now. And come forward, pressing into the heel of that left foot, watching the toes as you come into a warrior two on the left side. Again, watching your knee. Keeping your shoulders down. Pressing into those feet. Bending into that front knee. And bringing the feet pointing toward the long edge of the mat. Hands are on the hips. Inhale, lifting up again. Lengthening that spine. Exhale, folding halfway. This time, let's take our arms out long. And on the next exhale, folding forward. Grabbing onto those big toes with our peace line fingers. Lifting the hips up higher. Shifting that weight forward, closer to the balls of the toes, the big toe mounds. Playing with that balance. On your next exhale, walking the hands halfway out. Hands come to the hips. Inhale, coming all the way up. Let's point the toes outward. I'm going to come into a goddess pose. Cactusing the arms. Or you could have them out straight and long if you prefer. And then let's shift over to a warrior two, bending into the left knee. Shifting back into our goddess pose. And then coming into a warrior two on the right side. And lifting up. And let's step forward. Let's take that right leg, bringing the knee up. Open up the hip. You do have the option of pointing your foot out. And bringing the knee back forward. And bring the foot back, coming into a warrior three. Pressing out of the heel. You can have a slight bend in your standing leg. A little up dog in your chest. And then come forward. Bringing that knee forward. Now let's open up for a tree pose. Keep opening that hip. Option to have your foot down on your calf or at the ankle, just not the knee. And then release back to the floor. Maybe noticing how one leg feels longer than the other at this moment. Maybe not. And bring that left knee up now. Opening up to the left side. Again, with the option to point the foot out. Keep reaching that spine long. And bring the foot back to forward. And come back for our warrior three. keeping the hip square to the mat. Coming forward and taking that tree pose. And then release. And just pedal those legs out. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, folding forward. And step back into our down dog. Let's step that right foot forward. Dropping the back knee and coming into a lizard pose. So you have your right foot all the way at the edge of your mat. Just letting the hips drop. Maybe coming down onto your forearms, or maybe resting your forearms on a block. If you want a little extra power, you can always lift up that left knee. Breathing into the stretch, breathing into any uncomfortable feelings, as long as it's not painful. Let's begin to come up out of this. And then stepping back into our down dog. We'll stepping the left foot forward and dropping the back knee, or keeping it lifted, whatever you did on the opposite side. And just slowly let the hips relax, let them drop. And when you're ready, coming down a little bit lower onto the forearms. The goal is not to bring the chest down, but to bring the hips more release. And begin to come up out of this. Stepping back for down dog. Let's bring the knees forward, coming into a seated position. The legs are out long. Pressing your hands into the mat outside of the hips. Lifting the spine up. Exhaling, walking the hands forward, folding from our hips. You can grab onto your big toes or your feet, ankles, taking a bind around your feet. Keep pressing your thighs into the mat. And inhale, walking back slowly. Let's widen our legs apart. Inhale, lifting the chest up. Exhale, walking the hands forward. Just keeping your toes pointed up. Pressing those thighs down. Reaching that spine length. And start to release, walking hands back slowly. Let's bring our legs in. Come to lay down. And let's bring our knees together and feet apart. Just taking a restorative pose. And bring the feet to hip width. And close enough to where you can touch the heels of your feet. Pressing into them. And coming into a bridge pose. Squeezing the glutes when you get as high as you can. Help you get a little more reach. And exhale, coming all the way down. Bringing those feet out wide again. And just windshield wiper the knees back and forth. And bringing the knees into the chest. And lifting them up for a waterfall pose. And finally bringing them down. Coming into our final pose of Shavasana. feeling gratitude for the ground below you, holding you close to the earth. Gratitude for your body and what it's able to do for you. Gratitude for yourself, for taking time to take care of yourself. Taking a moment to refresh ourselves before we come back to all those things around us that we take care of. Begin to come out of this, finding movements in your hands and feet, and wrists and ankles. Bring the knees up toward the chest. And let's widen our hands, our arms out long. And then drop your knees over to one side, gazing out at the opposite side. Inhale, lifting those knees up and then dropping them to the opposite side. Inhale, coming up. And let's take a nice full body stretch. Reaching the heels out, pressing through them, reaching the arms up, the shoulders are down. Exhale, bringing the knees in again, rolling over to one side. Pausing a moment. And pressing up into a seated position when you are ready. Eyes closed, hands come to the heart. Grateful for your presence. Grateful for another beautiful day. I'm grateful for all things, those that make sense and those that do not. For all have their place and purpose. Namaste, bowing to the light.